Alright, so let's go and talk about the Galactic Government now. And then we'll go into more specifics. We'll talk generally about it, then go into the specifics. So while we, the Terrans, are just the latest race to gain admittance into the galactic community, others have been a part of it since the beginning. The Intergalactic Government was established by the Astral Date System. Some 9,600 years prior to Terrans being admitted, an event that took place in astral year 3764. So, I'm going to explain the Astral Date System and how that all works, because it's kind of similar to what we use for our actual date system, but it's also, in some ways, a lot different. It's more akin to the Gregorian calendar as far as the Julian calendar that we use now. So the Astral Date System is essentially a mechanism to conglomerate the disparate yet similar methods of telling the passage of time between most of the Galactic Empire's member races. Of course, there are always going to be some that are way too different to be, to fit in within the mold or within the structure of this system, but this encompasses the system for most of the member races. It's similar to how they tell the passage of time. So, as far as the actual passage of time, the denominations vary up to a point from our traditional kind of calendar system. In GST, Galactic Standard Time, there are 29 hours in a day, 10 days in a week, up to 5 weeks in a month, and as little as 2 weeks in a month, and 18 months in a year, with 660 days in that year. Everything else is essentially the same as in regards to how we tell time. An hour is still 60 minutes and 60 seconds in a minute. So those two are still the same, and also the denominations as far as century and millennia, all that kind of stuff was also the same. Decade. It's just the days in the year, the months in the year, the hours in a day, the days in a week, and some variation on the weeks in a month. Everything else is pretty much the same. So the dating for dating purposes, however, the Terran Gregorian calendar system was instituted when we joined the Galactic Empire, as it allowed for a much more streamlined and understandable system than what the reason before, that did not run roughshod over the calendar methods used by the other member races. So essentially how the Gregorian date system works is you take the date, the year, all 4 characters of the year, and then on the end of that, you add on 3 digits representing the day of the year. So not the day of the month, but the day of the year. So like, for example, on December 31st of this year, the Gregorian calendar would read 2015 365. Because that would be the last day of the year, 365th day of the year, and the year is 2015. And in that way, that's how the astral date system works. There's going to be like a divider that I'm going to create for it. I don't have it created right now, so I just have it kind of referenced as a closing bracket, a pipe, and a opening bracket. So, like if you look at the keyboard, the bracket is the key underneath the minus button and the plus button, plus key, and then the pipe is the one next to those, above the enter key and under the backspace key. So it's the closing bracket or the left-facing bracket, a pipe, and then the opening bracket or right-facing bracket. That's the placeholder symbol divider thing for it. So essentially the way the date reads is AY for astral year, 4 characters for the year, that symbol, and then 3 characters for the day. So something like, for example, the last day of astral year would be, like, for example, 3,256.60, for example. And you'll see that in the game as well. So there were 3 founding member races, or member species. The Dryson provided much of the infrastructure, including construction of the seat of power of the Galactic Parliament, and an uninhabited system only 20 light years away from the Dryson system. And the system's name is Tove, which is Mongolian, I think, again, for center. The Telvari provided the technology required to create a vast intergalactic communications network, including creating the very first warp gates to allow instantaneous travel to nearby systems without the use of warp between them. A wise decision, as this would cut down traveling time greatly and allow a new galactic empire to flourish quickly. There'll be more on that later on in the mechanics section when we talk about exploration. A little more backstory into that. And then we have the Aident, who provided the first military ships, which were used to form small task forces to protect government locations from danger, be it natural or intentional. Thus remained the structure of the government for many millennia, until about 3,500 years later, when the Procol and the Vicer applied for entrance. The petitioning process is exhaustive, and each race petitioning for membership must meet 3 requirements. The first requirement is that there can be no independent nations on the homeworld. In other words, the planet has to be unified underneath a single governmental structure or something similar to that, like a hegemony or matriarchy or something. To ensure that all planetary resources can be devoted to being a studious member of the Galactic Society. The second is that the race must have something to contribute to the Galactic Society. So, again. So, for example, Terran's case, Draconic. In the case of Suicon, they provided military power, and every race kind of has their own thing to add in. And third, they must demonstrate that they will put the good of the Galactic Society ahead of their own empires. So, if the Galactic Empire is attacked, that the petitioning race is going to cut and run, for example, and protect their own interests and not leave everybody else to burn, essentially. So the Vicer and the Procol were admitted first, and they were followed by the Yon, who were then followed by the Graz. It would then be another 2,000 years before the Sluicon would be allowed to join, after dozens of petitions have been denied. And then, after that, no new races would petition to join until the Terrans' first attempt in 3645. The request was summarily denied, as many thought humanity was still not mature enough to be allowed entrance. Excuse me. 2 more attempts to be made until the 4th one was ratified, along with generous help from one Frith Alertha, a Drysian who would go on to become magistrate later on in her life. You can read more about her on the website. So, now we're going to go into the extreme level of detail in the Galactic Government, and I'm going to save that for tomorrow or maybe Friday, because it's a huge section and there's a lot to go over, so that'll be for later. So, thanks for watching these video series so far. Hope you've found them enlightening. If you have any comments, questions, leave them below. And remember to subscribe to the channel, keep up on the latest stuff going on. And I will see you later.